All right, so this episode will be about 99.9% pro wrestling. So if that's a turn off for you, you could just leave right now. We'll see you next time. Um, but anyways,
Or at least just keep letting it play out, or just let it play out so we could at least get the view. You could go do whatever else you want, but just let it play out on
yeah,
your phone
just
and
leave
just
it.
mute it.
Just leave it and let it go. Um,
Yeah.
anyways, it was hard to find a current story for this, so I went and found something that was about a few years old. Um, Enzo Amore, the certified G, the bona fide stud, because you can't teach that. You don't know what I'm doing because it's either way too old for you to remember or you gave up watching it by that point, Sean. But this was back in
I probably gave up watching by that point. I think I know who Enzo is. The name at least like sounds familiar, Enzo Amore,
he,
so
he he was back in like 2015 to 2018. Um, anyways,
yeah, like the name definitely is familiar, but I didn't watch him.
it was Enzo and Big Cass. Uh, but anyways, back in his NXT days, before NXT was actually like a show, it was more of like the competition to like get onto the main roster. Um,
Yeah,
apparently, Dusty
yeah.
Rhodes was teaching a class called To Cut a Promo. Um, well,
Uh,
during his promo, Enzo farted so loud that Dusty Rhodes threw him out of the building, and WWE then fired him. Now, Triple
Fired Enzo, you're talking
they,
about?
they fired Enzo over a fart. Um, Triple H then went and re-signed him, but because of that and because Dusty was mad, he then went on a 3-month losing streak. So to think,
Like Kurt Hawkins level losing streak
yes, like
right there.
absolute terrible. So, um, but yeah, he goes on a 3-month losing streak. After the 3 months, this was my favorite part of it. After the 3 months is when he gets called up to the main roster.
It's called up without having like a major win.
it,
Like when enforcers in the American Hockey League get called up to the NHL, even though they've never accomplished anything, they're just big tough dudes.
pretty much,
And that's all
except
they do,
Enzo
but
was
they
like
don't
5'2"
accomplish
or
anything.
something.
Exactly.
Enzo was 5'2" and Big Cass was like 6'5" or something like that. But both of them got called up at the same
Oh,
time.
jeez.
But to think, his
Yeah.
wrestling career got started because of a fart. So
Honestly, like
at
I
this
think
rate,
there's
can I
hope.
be a
I think
wrestler?
there's hope for the rest of us.
Right?
If a fart gets you on the roster, what does a burp get you? Does that get you like the WWE Championship?
Gets you an automatic title shot. Automatic number 1
Oh my
contender.
God. Yeah, you don't even have to win. You don't even have to win the title. It just gets you the match.
Right. So
And honestly, like him being fired for a fart, honestly, is so Vince McMahon because there were so many things that were like the WWE would fire people for like just because they were gonna have babies.
yep.
Oh, you're pregnant? Well, I guess you can't work here anymore. I and like stupid stuff like that. Like it's almost like when Chris Benoit kicked the Miz out of the locker room for like 9 months just because he allegedly chicken crumbs in his bag, which
Mm-hmm.
I think even was proven that it never actually happened. It wasn't like the Miz; it was like someone else, but they blamed the Miz.
I love how like everything is so like, well, you did this. I know this like this thing is just all wrestling still, but it's like I was like, well, you did this to me. Well, I have to beat the shit out of you for it. And I was like, can make the match at least a
Yeah.
little bit entertaining
Freaking
and not have it be like 2 minutes.
uh,
Like,
the, the WWE in the 2000s was an absolute war zone
oh
backstage.
yeah.
Like those guys were fucking ruthless.
Well, it was ruthless aggression,
Like
so
they
it was.
would like there's hazing in sports. Yeah, I mean true. I mean there was like in hazing in sports, like you see it like in the NFL where like the rookies get pranked on, but it's like harmless fun. Like the WWE guys in the 2000s would like make you rethink your career choice.
Right. I kind of feel
Like, it
that
was
way
brutal.
with
Like
the
some of those stories you'd hear.
with like a couple like the heavyweights having somehow getting booked with like the cruiserweights, like the 5 foot people getting booked against a 6 foot 200 pound guy. The match lasts like a minute and a half. Like it's and it was pretty much just them feeding them a guy
Like
to make them look tough. Like it was that kind of stuff.
it was
But
it was pretty much the Great Khali's like first few matches that weren't against the Undertaker.
right.
Like just anyone he faced, just the match was like a minute, and Khali would just, as his pin, would just step on them.
Hmm.
Like, uh, but a fart. Like I think if that's what it requires to make the WWE, then you know what? I think everyone has a shot. Just believe in yourself. Believe you can give, and you'll be signed by the company.
But
Especially if Triple H is the one who hired him, and now Triple H is running the company.
here's the thing though, is that if that's the case, then we are gonna have so many wrestlers. So, like doesn't matter. So many wrestlers with no athletic ability. That is when it's gonna be entertaining.
Oh my god. I mean, there's. I mean, honestly, throughout history, there's already been a lot of wrestlers who you'd even say are like, why the fuck are they even here? But
Well, I mean, like even still, like it goes back
so
to
like,
like
I
the
don't think that's like
people.
anything new.
It goes back to the people like the drunk dad saying something about like the fucking Olympics. It was like, oh, I could do that. Apparently, it rip ass, and
But
then
yeah, no, 100%. I mean,
you just
I'm
run, and
thinking
then you
like
get
we
your
go to
ass beat
Raw
by fucking.
tomorrow night.
You get your ass beat, and then
I when
oh, here comes a, oh, it's Randy.
we go to
Like
Raw tomorrow. We go to Raw tomorrow. I just like dare you to jump the barricade, get in the ring, and just let out the biggest fart possible.
I'll need a microphone, but I'll do
Million
it.
dollar contract on the spot.
Oh, if that was the case, I'd quit my job.
Million dollar
I
contract
literally
on the
would just call
spot.
my boss and be like, "Hey, I'm not coming in tomorrow."
And who wouldn't at that point?
But no, if that was the case, definitely I would do it. Um, but I know you don't watch it as much as I do. Um, at, at least now anyway. Um, I will say for the people that haven't watched it, just go on fucking Instagram and watch it. Honestly, because that fucking last 2 minutes of of Elimination Chamber, holy shit! Like,
I didn't even need to watch it, but just like seeing the screenshot on Facebook, like I don't want to like spoil it. I mean, by the time I'm sure you release this, I'm sure anyone who's actually a wrestling fan would have seen it by now. But like, there, I don't know how to exactly feel about it. I feel like I'd probably need to watch it for WWE because it could take them in so many different possibilities leading up to WrestleMania.
So even still, like you look at WrestleMania, it's obviously going to be Cena and Cody. But my thing is that
100%.
well, yeah, because that's the match. Because Jay's already said that he's going to face Gunther. Um, because Jay won the Royal Rumble. Um,
Yeah.
so, anyways, um, let's say let's say Cena wins 17. Where is the championship going to end up by the end of um the last round or the year of last, as Cena says?
Mm,
Does he take his title and go home?
I mean, I'll see why he wouldn't, honestly, but at the same time, like, Cena just taking the title, like, I feel like this heel turn is something of along the lines of like when Shawn Michaels turned heel in '05, turned on Hulk Hogan, but like he turned face pretty much right after they faced each other at SummerSlam. So is it like that kind of heel turn where it's like they're just going with it for like a month just to kind of change it up and then they're just gonna go right back to normal anyways? So like,
So my thing with this is I kind of had a feeling this would happen, and it's mainly because of of Rock and Cena's relationship. Because
yeah,
the first time they did it at WrestleMania, they wanted in an interview that I saw with Cena in it, they said he said that that the story was changed just before the match started, but he was supposed to turn heel afterwards. So,
okay,
um, not that that's the only thing, but like if you look at his press conferences from like after the first Raw on Netflix, and then you look at the one after Rumble, it's different.
yeah.
So, um, and
I
that
feel I
was
feel like WWE has wanted like Cena to turn heel for like
I have a feeling they
no,
wanted to do
I
it
was just gonna
at some
say
point.
I feel like they've always wanted to do it. I mean, he was heel when he was like first starting out back in like '03, and that wasn't like he was still kind of like a like mid Carter, upper mid Carter at that point, so it wasn't like anything like super special. And then when he turned face, I mean, then it was just like he's so popular, and I just feel like the WWE just could never like find the right opportunity to do it because he's just so popular. But now it's like he's on his last run, and they're probably like, we got it. Now is like our only chance. If like we don't do it now, then we're never gonna do it
Right.
at this point. Like it's the perfect opportunity.
And my thinking is that when his last time is now thing, my guess is that his last match, most likely at a pay-per-view, but I can't think of what pay-per-view it would be because it would most likely be like end of November, early December. My guess is that his last match, and you can start making bets on this now. My guess is his last match is him and Punk.
Let's see that. I thought they've already said like his last match is gonna be WrestleMania.
No, it's full
Unless
year.
I'm missing something here. Full
Full
year,
year.
okay.
Yeah.
That change that yeah, to me then that changes everything. That to me changes everything I was thinking. I
Because he,
honestly I agree with you 100%. It would make so much sense to end with Punk.
because at Money in the Bank in Toronto, I think it was last year. If it wasn't last year, it was the year before. He said in the post conference, in the post show or whatever, that it's like once 2025, once December hits, it's over. I'm done. So my guess is that even though yes, it is his last WrestleMania, he's not going to be done until December. Because my guess
Yeah,
is that
I'm.
if if he's still holding the title in December and they have no plan on changing it or doing that, he's going to walk away with it. But
Yeah.
if he does end up losing the title, it's going to be a loss to at least one of his rivals through his career, which will
Yeah.
not force him to turn face, but at the very least, what people are going to want is Cena Punk for Cena's last match.
That honestly, I think it's the most sense because of anyone that's still in WWE that he's had a rivalry with, his with Punk's was easily probably like top five of his career in rivalries. I don't think it's number one, but it's definitely like
It's
up there.
definitely up there.
And since CM Punk is such like a popular figure and polarizing figure in WWE, it just makes too much sense for them to finish with Cena and Punk
Mm-hmm.
at this point. The only other person in WWE currently that they can maybe argue like ending Cena's rivalry with, like last match, is Randy Orton. Like that's maybe the only other one, and to me, I think Punk nowadays holds more ground. Not that he holds more ground over Randy Orton, but I think that rivalry is probably more fresher in people's minds than when Cena and Orton were rivals.
I think so. I can only see Punk right now, and it's purely for the fact that Randy isn't back yet. So,
That too, and also,
but
is it
whenever he
technically
does come
Cena
back,
still? Yeah.
whenever Randy, if slash when does come back, my guess is it will probably switch to Randy. But if he doesn't come back by December, my guess is it's going to be Punk.
I could see that, and also isn't Cena still technically like on Raw? Like kind of like I know it's like loose, but isn't he still technically Raw? Whereas Orton better just because Cena and Punk are technically on the same roster, whereas Orton is on SmackDown.
I mean, he's still technically on the Raw roster, but the thing is that even still, you get these crossovers almost all the time now.
Yeah.
So there's
Why
like,
I could honestly see for tomorrow that even though like Cody's on SmackDown,
oh,
since
he'll be
it's like
there.
such a big thing, like it's Cena's heel turn in over first heel turn in over 20 years. Like not on the next show, not like milk that for all it's worth, would I honestly think be the dumbest thing ever.
So here's my guess is um I've seen one report that said he's going to be there. I've seen one report that he's already left. So I can't guarantee it, but I will say that I'm going to say that Cody's going to be there. I'm going to say that I'm going to say Rock might be there. It really depends. But Cena's at this point a question mark. So we don't really know. But common sense would say that they would try and do as much as they can with it on the Raw after. But we,
But I know the last thing we were kind of talking about is who's going to be there tomorrow, and like saying how I know technically like Cody's on SmackDown and like Raw, like why would he be there? But for again, Cena's first heel turn and probably the biggest heel turn in God knows how long for WWE. That like if they didn't milk this literally the show after Elimination Chamber, then they completely out of their minds.
I I can't guarantee it, and
I mean I don't yeah.
it's purely for the fact that like I've seen some reports saying that he's already gone, and some reports that he's gonna stay. So we don't know, but at the very least, I have a really good guess that at least Cody's gonna be there.
Dude, if
Um,
Cody's gonna be there, I'm gonna lose my
so am
shit.
I. So am I. Cody's one of my favorites.
I might have to wear my Cody Rhodes. I was gonna buy a shirt at the event anyways, but I might have to just wear my Cody Rhodes shirt now just because of the possibility he's gonna be there.
Well, I'm bringing my hat, so I got that. So,
There you go.
and
There you
I
go.
wanted to get, there was a shirt on Amazon that said that was like, that was kind of like top down light, but it was Cody, and it just says finished the story. It was great.
That's sick.
I'm like, and it was like
I
20
might
bucks. I'm
have
like, now I want it. Like now I
yeah.
want it,
No,
but it
Amazon's
won't
good.
get here though.
Amazon's good. That's the thing with the WWE shirts on Amazon. This happened to me the last when I went to SmackDown. Is like their shirts are pretty cheap and they're good quality shirts. It's not like they're bad or anything. They're cheap, but they don't ship. They don't do Amazon Prime shipping. Like they ship at their own rate, which is and the one I even ordered was supposed to get here by SmackDown, but it was late. I ended up getting it, and Amazon ended up refunding me for the shirt. They let me keep the shirt, but they ended up refunding me for it because it was late,
Hmm.
which was not. Which I mean, Amazon, like, I mean, you could say whatever about the real world shit with their owner and everything right now, and that's totally fair. I could at least say that they are at least the company itself is at least cool about if you need to return an item or just want a refund, they'll do that and like have no issues with it. And
Right.
they'll even let you just keep the item half the time.
Depends on what it is. Um,
It depends. Like there's some stuff I know they want back, but it's not many things.
I think
Oh, it's gonna be interesting tomorrow. I'm honestly so pumped. I think the shows right after pay-per-views are always the best ones to go to, personally.
I mean, so we already know at least
Besides actual pay-per-views. Besides actual pay-per-views, but
we already know at least three things. There's no way that they cannot talk about Cena's heel turn. So
oh, 100%.
someone that was there for Cena's heel turn is going to be there. If it's Cody, if it's Rock, it's somebody. Hell, maybe
Yeah.
even Cena.
Or if
Who
it's even
knows?
Cena itself.
Who
Yeah.
knows? But I'm just saying that for the Raw after that happened, there's no way that that goes unspoken about.
At
Um,
all. Like if SmackDown was first, it'd be the same thing. Then it'd be probably easier because Cody's already on SmackDown. But with Raw being first, they can't like something that big
would not wait a week.
go. No,
No.
no, not at all. Not at all.
Um, and then we have Rhea and Io for the women's title. And then we
I'm pumped.
have
Yeah,
that one's gonna be nuts. Um,
that's gonna be good.
I have a feeling though, like apart from the dark match, that's gonna be the main event. So that one is probably gonna be last.
I'd
Um,
be okay with that. Honestly,
I'd
a
be okay
good
with it too,
women's
but I'm
match as the main event. Like Trish on the level of Trish Stratus versus Lita, like that is 100% awesome. And I think should happen more personally.
my thing with it is like they'll like post like whatever the matches are gonna be, and you can kind of tell what order they're gonna do it in based on how much each match means, I guess. But
Mm,
usually with the main titles, those are usually at the end. So my guess will
yeah.
probably be like a random two random matches, the tag team title match, um, and then the women's match, and then the dark match.
Yeah.
So,
And the women's match doesn't even need to be the last segment of the show. Like they could have like when we went to SmackDown, like the last segment wasn't a match. It was just
well, I'm saying, I'm just
that
saying
feud
in
with
terms of,
Roman Reigns.
I'm just saying in terms of matches, that's what it's probably gonna look
No,
like.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
I think that'd be
in
cool.
terms of segments, I'm gonna say they either talk about it at the like right at the beginning or at the end.
It's gonna open the show. I 100% think it's gonna open the show.
Yeah. So,
I remember just being excited, buying when I found out Raw was coming. I was like, oh, cool! Like I get to go see like CM Punk, Rey Mysterio, Sheamus. Like these guys grow up, and now it's like 100. Like the intensity to this specific show is raised like 100.
hmm
Like and now it's just not a random show. It's like it's going down.
my my thing about it was like as soon as I found out, I'm like, wait, weren't they just here in November? Um,
Exactly. But this WWE's weird like that because there were times when back when I was a kid where WWE would like wait a whole year before coming back here. And maybe that was because it was a pay-per-view coming here, so like they're getting a pay-per-view. They don't need more than that. And then like the next year, they came here like 3 times
hmm
or like 4 times within a year and a half.
you know what
Like
it probably
WWE is
was.
just weird.
You know what it probably was because Crown Jewel was the following Saturday. So
Yeah, that
so
yeah, there was something
they'll usually
happening.
fly
Like,
either like out of Toronto or somewhere in this area to get there because it's usually cheaper that way.
yeah,
Um, so they'll do a show and then they'll leave. That's why like at the end that they were saying it's like, all right, we got to get out of here, let's go. But um, I think
if they're
that's why.
using well, if they're using a charter plane, they'll just fly out of here. If they're using the WWE charter plane, they're probably just flying out of here, out of Buffalo. If they just have the WWE charter plane, honestly, if they're just taking everybody.
Well, who knows? But um,
This segment turned into a lot just
it
based
did
off a fart.
based off of fart. See what happens when you fart? See what happens?
And you were worried this segment wasn't going to be anything
I was
great, and I
worried
think
this
this
thing
turned
was
out
gonna be ass.
fantastic.
But
I
anyways,
honestly think this has been one of our best segments.
but anyways, we're gonna move on to something a little different. Okay, so instead of meanwhile, because it is the wrestling segment, Sean and I have decided that we are choosing, in our opinion. Let's keep this in mind. We're not pitting them against each other. In our opinion, we are choosing the best storyline that we can remember. It can be from a long ass time ago. It could be from yesterday. But I believe Sean and I have picked probably two of the best that people at least around our age remember, if not maybe a little bit older.
100%.
Um, so
100%.
Sean, you can go ahead with yours first.
Okay. So mine, and I will say this, is not, probably isn't even considered a top 10 rivalry of all time, but for me, it's always one that's stuck in my head since I watched wrestling as a kid, and that is the 2005 feud between Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero.
Okay.
Oh, and just for clarification, we're going to go through these rivalries kind of like how they started, how they ended kind of thing,
Yep.
and like all everything in between that we can remember. Okay. So, leading up to WrestleMania 21, like Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio were the WWE Tag Team Championships, which I personally think they were a very underrated tag team. I wish they would have kept them together longer,
They were a dangerous tag
but
team. Like they were.
they were so good. Like them winning the tag team championships at No Way Out that year was like elite level. Like this should have happened a long time ago. And finally they did it, and it should have lasted longer, but at the same time it led to this rivalry, so that's why. So leading up to WrestleMania 21, neither of them were like, wait, they were the tag team championships, and there wasn't really another tag team like was worth putting against them probably at WrestleMania. I don't know what if that was ever really considered, but I remember there was this one segment backstage where Eddie goes to Ray and like says like, so we have matches like guaranteed for us at WrestleMania, and I think that Ray was like thinking, yeah, we're gonna defend our like titles or something like that, and Eddie's like, what if we wrestled each other? And I don't I think the segment ended with Ray kind of like laughing it off,
Mm-hmm.
I believe. And then Eddie kind of like, and this is where you start to see the freaking wheels in Eddie's head start to like turn and be like to go to his unhinged levels. But at the same time, like I think it wasn't like anything malicious from Eddie. I think maybe he just was like, oh, I could have a good match at WrestleMania with my friend and I could win this match and everything. And I don't remember the segments in between that and then when the match happened, but needs to say the match happened WrestleMania 21 in Los Angeles. In my opinion, that is one of the best WrestleManias ever. It's not overdone. They kept it simple, and all the matches, in my opinion, were good matches.
Mm-hmm.
Big Show and Akibona, maybe not, but whatever. They had to give Big Show something to do. So it was the opening match, which that is a great way to open a WrestleMania. Like Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio, like two Hall of Famers. Like even at that time, everyone knew Eddie was going to the Hall of Fame, and I think people had a hunch Rey eventually was going to get something more. And that match was probably like anywhere from like 10 to 15 minutes. Like a standard like one-on-one match, nothing crazy happened in it. And Ray wins the match. And Eddie like like after the match, he's like sad, like obviously like damn, I didn't win that. And then Ray and him shake hands after. It's kind of like a shake hands like good match kind of thing. It's not like a brotherly like great match, bro. So then not long after that, I think it was actually literally the next SmackDown after, probably, the tag team M&M debuted. Well, the stable, I should say. With Johnny Nitro, now is more known as John Morrison,
Mm-hmm.
Joey Mercury, and Melina. So, they much became that new tag team rival to go for the championships. And it was about, I'd say, 2 weeks later, it was like a few weeks after WrestleMania, they beat Eddie and Ray for the championships. And I don't think it was this match in particular. I don't remember exactly if it was right after they lost the championships or there was like another match they had where Eddie turned on Ray. That's when Eddie, like, I think there was one where he left the match, like, didn't, like, return or something like that, and they lost. Or it's like they lost, or, like, Ray was getting, double teamed by Eminem. Eddie comes to save him, and then Eddie turns on him, and that's when that whole like Eddie drops him on his head on the steel steps. He rips his mask, like a very vicious like attack.
Mm-hmm.
And then that started just match after match where it became that thing where Eddie couldn't beat Ray. Like Ray beat him on SmackDown, I think, a couple times. He beat Eddie at Judgment Day of that year by disqualification. I don't remember the full details. I'm guessing probably steel chair kind of thing would be my guess. And then that's when after that is when Dominic was brought into the storyline. And I think the first mention of this was when Eddie was filmed at like Dominic's like daycare or school or something like that, and like he's being all cool with Dominic, and that's when the whole "do you like bedtime stories" thing, and Uncle Eddie has the best bedtime story for you, and it's like when you knew like holy shit, this is more than just a he can't be Ray, like there's something more.
Mm-hmm.
So then this leads up to Great American Bash, which was in Buffalo. Great American Bash 05, Buffalo, New York. Rock on. And actually even before this, they fought Eminem again for the tag team championships. Like, you get that rematch to win back your championship kind of thing. I'm guessing that's what that was.
Probably.
And Eddie was pretty much not really involved in the match. It was pretty much Rey Mysterio versus Eminem. Like, at one point, Eddie's just sitting on a chair at ringside, and Rey is about to win the match.
Mm-hmm.
And Eddie stops him pretty much, and I think the match just ended. I don't think it was something like Eminem pinned them then at that point. I think the match just became a no contest. And that's when then the match at Great American Bash happens. Ray comes down with Dominic, and Dominic's like watching at ringside, and again, it's a pretty fairly even match. Eddie gets the like upper hand later on, and it looks like he's gonna win the match. Then Ray like pins him, like reversal pin kind of thing, wins the match, and then hold on, need to get some water. But like I said, the next SmackDown, Ray comes out with Dominic, and they're like celebrating, and Eddie, lie, cheat, and steal, drops the bomb that he's Dominic's father,
Mm-hmm.
not Ray. And then that's when that whole Eddie wants the custody of Dominic, and it's that whole thing. That is where I think the rivalry, like, it's very WWE. You could tell, like, obviously it's very WWE. It's something Vince McMahon definitely fucking thought of.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Or someone pitched it to him, and he was like, "Great idea.
How funny would this be?
How funny would this be with this kid and traumatizing him?" And
I'm an asshole.
Exactly. There's an episode of SmackDown where Ray literally has to give Dominic to Eddie with like a social worker there. Who, I mean, I'm sure it's just an actress, but whatever.
It was one of the security guards or something.
No, it was some woman. Like, it looked legit. Like, it looked real. And that's when Ray challenges Eddie for the match at SummerSlam for the custody of Dominic. I don't think he originally said a ladder match. I think that came later.
You know what would have been wild?
If,
Dominic gets handed over to Eddie. Here comes Maury with a folder. Just like down the ramp. It was like, nope, the DNA tests are in. That whole rivalry would have ended right there.
Would I not put it past WWE, like, right there?
That would also be a Vince McMahon thing. That's
But it said, like Eddie said in the rivalry though, like he had Dominic with another woman, so obviously it's not like he got Ray's wife pregnant, kind of thing. Like, it was like Ray adopted Dominic, which we all know obviously he didn't.
Yeah.
But
But I'm
WWE
just
thinks
saying
we're
that
dumb.
would be
So.
so funny if he was like running down the ramp. It was like the results are in. The results.
That would have been funny. Or like it wasn't even Eddie's kid.
Right.
It was just some random
Says
dude.
Eddie, you are not the father. You are not the father either. What?
And then it's like then it's like you want to see who the real father is, and it's just some other wrestler. It's like Big Show or something. You just hear well, it's the Big Show or something like that.
Jack Swagger.
Before Jack Swagger was Jack Swagger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Edge because of that whole thing with Lita going on.
Right.
He was cheating on everybody.
That was such a weird
Oh, so
story.
then Edge and Lita thing, yeah, that was a contender too, honestly, because that one was also based off real life, but this one's better. So then the ladder match happens at SummerSlam, and like my first knowledge of this rivalry was mainly from the ladder match DVD set WWE had back in like I think they released in like '07 or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the match. That was one of the matches on it, and it like when they do the promo, you know, the filmed promo thing for it before the match and everything, and then they open up and it's just like they're obviously doing the pans of all the ladders in the ring and the briefcase hanging
Yep.
above the ring, and it's just like such a somber thing. Like Michael Cole and Taz are the commentators, and it's just they're so somber about it. Like it felt like you obviously know it's not real because WWE thinks we're dumb,
Mm-hmm.
but like it felt real. Especially like I think also what helped this match in particular, but even the rivalry itself, was the commentating job of Michael Cole and Taz.
Mm-hmm.
Like made it seem like so real. And then like obviously Eddie comes out, he's all evil. Dominic's sitting at ringside with the social worker and like he's getting booed. Like all that. And then Ray comes out, and it's not the typical, like, fun-loving Ray walking out to the entrance. Like, the only thing that was normal is when he did the jumping out of the thing. But
Yeah.
then he's, like, walking down, he's all somber, and then the match happens, and again, it's a brilliant match. Like, honestly, all those matches between Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero were, like, elite matches. Like, those two had such chemistry together that it just like was so good, and that's what I think helped it is like they worked together so well, and I mean they were like best friends, so like that makes sense. And then you're adding ladders to it to these two like luchador trained wrestlers. It was a of that ladder match DVD set. That's one of the best on there, personally. And then like you have the part where Eddie's about to win. Dominic runs in the ring, tries to shake the ladder, and obviously he's like 8 years old at the time. Like he's not moving it. And then Eddie gets down. He's about to hit Dominic, and then Ray starts just to beat the shit out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have again Eddie's at the top, the briefcase unhooked. Ray moves the ladder. Eddie falls, and then another time Eddie's about to win. Vicky runs down. This year was pretty much the introduction of Vicky Guerrero to the WWE. She pushes Eddie off the ladder. Ray wins the match. It climbs the ladder, wins the match. His wife comes down, and again, it makes it look even more real. They all hug, and then Eddie's throwing a tantrum in the ring. And then Ray comes back in and just levels him with the briefcase.
Mm-hmm.
And you almost wish the rivalry just ended there, but then I'm pretty sure they had one more match. I think it was like a steel cage match, and that's when Eddie won, and that's when it finally, like, the rivalry finally just, like, ended. But, like, again, is it one of the best rivalries ever, or even the most memorable? Probably not. But, like, just for the fact WWE, like, I could say it's a fucked up rivalry for sure, especially when you got later into, like, the circumstances. It was done, I think, so well. And again, I think that goes to the love, just the true professionals Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio were. Well, Rey still is. like, it was so well done, and yeah, honestly, it made me kind of wish WWE did more kind of risque stuff. In a way, '05 kind of was like that. Like, because then they did the Edge and Matt Hardy rivalry over Lita, brought real life shit into that. Even though by then they were kind of all cool about it. Not cool about it, but like, it was like whatever at that point. Like, dude, 2005, like 2004 to 2007 was just elite rivalries all around. Like, and to me, that one just always stood out. And again, like, Rey Mysterio is easily one of my top 3 favorite wrestlers of all time. I didn't really watch when I just started watching right after Eddie died. I never saw him live. I never saw a match live or even live on TV. But like watching his matches after, that dude easily, I think is one of the top 10 wrestlers of all time.
I'd agree.
So that's why I picked that one, and yeah, I'm excited. I already know where you picked, so I'm excited.
Well, yeah, because I've told you like 3 times now, but
exactly. But
anyways, they
let's
don't
go.
know.
Yeah.
Anyway, Cena has had some fantastic stories, from ruthless aggression to The Miz, The Rock. There's no way.
Gotta throw Edge in. You do have to throw Edge in there, though.
Yeah,
too.
you gotta
I
throw Edge in
know
there.
that's not what you're about to pick Edge in there too, for sure.
But my favorite of the storylines has to be Cena in the Nexus. Now,
yes.
Now, Wade Barrett, the leader of the Nexus, wins the NXT Challenge.
First season.
First season. Makes a collective debut on Raw, taking out Cena, Punk, and members of the broadcast crew. Pretty much taking over the entire thing.
That was one of the craziest endings to Raw. And honestly, it's so ironic that Punk was the other wrestler in that match. That was so ironic. Like knowing what happened later.
Afterwards, they took out Bret Hart, who at the time was the interim Raw manager, leading to everybody's favorite, the laptop manager. The most ridiculous manager on the planet. The Nexus continue ambushing people, mainly Cena, causing him 2 championship matches. Assembling a team consisting of himself, Edge, Jericho, John Morrison, R-Truth, and Bret Hart. Still missing one more person. We learned that
you forgot the Great Khali. You forgot the Great Khali was originally supposed to be in that too.
It was supposed to be in it, but I'm getting to that.
Yes. Sorry.
Fucking asshole. At SummerSlam, ironically, another SummerSlam story.
Actually, I did not think about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We learned that this match has become a 7-on-7 elimination. The final member of Cena's team makes his upper roster debut. It's Daniel Bryan.
Oh yeah.
At one point, a lot of them were like, you got eliminated if you got pinned or submitted or disqualified. It was pretty much like that. But I think Bret Hart got disqualified for using a chair.
I think that's right, yeah.
The rest of them either got pinned or submitted. But by now we are at Nexus has 6 people left versus Cena. Cena's the only one left. It is 6-on-1. He takes out 3 of them in 2 minutes. Okay.
Just real quick on that match, just because if I remember correctly of the time period, I believe Edge and Jericho were still heels, but they were victims of the Nexus because the Nexus didn't discriminate who they attacked. They attacked whoever. So didn't
They
like Edge or Jericho or both just kind of like leave the match? Am I remembering that correctly, or
they didn't leave. They kind of just didn't try.
okay, yeah, that's kind of how
Because they
yeah,
didn't
I remember
they
that.
were more in it so that Cena was able to have the match, but they didn't care about being in it.
They just wanted to beat up the
Pretty
Nexus
much.
in a way. That was just their own revenge.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
The two more get eliminated. Now it's Barrett and Cena. They're the last two left. Everybody's exhausted. This match has gone on for half an hour. And they keep going, they keep finding you wouldn't even realize, like, watching it, even though it's already half an hour, that they look like they just started. They're just wailing away at each other. Um, Another 2 minutes later, Cena hits an attitude adjustment and makes Wade submit to the STF.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I remember that.
So that's pretty much like the baseline of the story. But the thing that makes me love this story is that it branched out into 5 more stories just on
Pretty
this alone.
much.
Because
Pretty much.
if you think about it, Jericho and um, Edge went off, did their own thing, and then ended up going after each other for a while. Um,
Yeah, that's when Edge turned face.
yeah.
Edge turned face for like the first time since like '04 because of that.
R-Truth after that started his um kind of his tag team run with Miz after that. That was the first round of Awesome Truth. Um,
Awesome truth.
Morrison kind of just vanished after that.
Yeah,
Um,
he was kind of just still there. Like that was
Pretty
pretty much
much.
Morrison at that time, anyways.
Daniel Bryan, obviously, we all, at least in the wrestling world, know that he went on to take on the Authority and go to WrestleMania and win a championship.
Pretty much also became that also pretty much became Daniel Bryan versus Michael Cole, like how we saw Kamala Harris versus Trump.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much.
Um, the Nexus imploded because
Yep.
on the Raw following SummerSlam, the main event was 3-on-3 Nexus all against each other because they pretty much drew a line right down the center of them. Um,
Yeah.
and after that match, that following Monday, they decided that whoever was in their respective matches, if they lost, they were thrown out. Like
I
trying to
remember
cut the
that.
weakest link.
I remember that
Um,
100%. Yeah, I remember that.
uh, this 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 is what makes it one of my favorite stories. Is this small? Well, not small. This lasted about what 6 months or something like that.
It was that summer at least.
That
That
it
whole
was
summer
definitely
at least.
that summer at least. But even still,
Because I if
this
I
one
remember
story,
correctly, because Nexus was
this one story shaped the WWE for about the next 2 years.
pretty much, and like I remember correctly, because Nexus started at like the beginning of that year, and I remember SmackDown came to Buffalo that May, and that's when Nexus was still like going, and now it actually because Nexus was filmed before they did SmackDown, and that was the first elimination week. Was that week it was in Buffalo where Michael Tarver was technically the first eliminated because he was the first name they said got eliminated, and then also Daniel Bryan got released as well. Got cut, I should
Yeah.
say. And then it was like only a few weeks after when the whole Nexus, including Daniel Bryan, like remember that first attack included Daniel Bryan attack, and that's when they all attacked. I don't, and then something came out of that where something during when they were all attacking is what got Daniel Bryan like canned,
Mm-hmm.
or thrown out of Nexus or something like that. And so it was pretty much that summer, and then leading in, like you said, the next 2 years, and then CM Punk takes over Nexus. Wade Barrett pretty much makes his new stable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't remember what they were called, but like it, and also it included Bret Hart for fuck's sakes, like
Right.
something in
Lame.
WWE in 2010 that included Bret Hart wrestling and being like heavily involved was like that was the year of that was Bret Hart's resurgence into wrestling, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. But that's the story that I chose. So it's one hell of a story.
I like it.
All right, so we're gonna move on to our last segment.
It was honestly both of those are different reasons.
We're gonna move on to our last segment, which is a draft.
Honestly, first pick, we just talked about him. You got to go John Cena.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
That dude is probably. I mean, are you shocked? Like that dude is easily one of the most accomplished wrestlers of all time. Like top 5 easily. The dude, like, think about WWE, especially back in the day, where it was like they wanted just these big, huge, like 7-foot muscle dudes. Cena's muscly. There's no question about that. But he's like 6'1", like he's only like an inch or two taller than me, like 6'1", 6'2". So what he's accomplished for there's many wrestlers that are either taller or more muscular than him, and what he's accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you gotta pick him. And the dude can promo. The dude can promo. The dude knows how to use a mic.
All right, I have 2 picks, and my first one,
Okay.
my first one to probably no surprise to anyone that knows me, um, I'm taking Roman. And I'm taking
Okay.
Roman because of not only his strength and ability, he's also really good at cutting promos. He's also,
Yeah.
for some reason, somehow able to win even though it's a disaster, and he'll win in like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
He can turn around an entire
Dude's
match
an
in a
insane
minute and a
athlete.
half.
He's an insane athlete.
Right.
Insane athlete.
And speaking of insane athlete, my second pick is Braun Breaker.
I don't honestly know who that is.
He doesn't
So
know who that is. Now, Braun Breaker is relatively on the newer kind of scene. He's
yeah.
he's Scott Steiner's son. Um,
Fuck. Okay. Yep.
he can run the
If he's
ropes.
anything like Scott Steiner,
He can run the ropes at 20 miles an hour. They clocked him during his NXT days. of how fast he could do it. He could do it at 20 miles an hour. It was that spear during Royal Rumble that I show speed. I might have to
Alright,
send you that. I might have to send you that. But that's my
maybe.
second pick.
Alright. If that dude's anything like his dad, that dude's an absolute monster.
He is. He is.
Holy crap. Okay. I can respect that. I can respect that. Okay, so now I get 2 picks?
Yep.
Okay. This is tough, because there's a lot of guys I can go here, but second, I'm gonna go Triple H.
Okay.
Now, has he gotten a lot in his favor in his career because of who he married?
Yes.
Probably, absolutely. But is it undeserved?
No.
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 Dude
He's going into
was an
the Hall of Fame
incredible.
this year. He's going into the Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah, exactly. Like even if he didn't marry Stephanie McMahon, the dude's a Hall of Famer. Like hands down, he was already like starting to get on that trajectory before all that happened. But like, he's a insane wrestler, can cut a promo, one of the best heels of all time, the best faces of all time too. Like he can play either side. There's some guys you can't say that about. He can play either side and does it perfectly on both ends. And also, DX is one of my favorite tag teams of all time. He's the head of that. No matter what incarnation of DX, he's the head of that. And then all the other stables, Evolution, The Authority, like, dude has versatility like you wouldn't believe.
Okay.
I'm going with him. And then
Okay.
for my third pick, I'm gonna go Cody Rhodes.
Oh, you fucker.
I I'm sorry, but Cody Rhodes, when you look at from where he started in '07, I remember when he debuted. Like he just seemed like he was obviously Dusty Rhodes' son. Like obviously that's something. But look at Dusty Rhodes' other son. He's fucking Goldust for fuck's sakes. I mean,
You don't really hear about him anymore.
exactly. Well, then he's older too. To be fair, he's way older than Cody. So, but like Cody Rhodes, where he started, just as like this lower card to mid card guy, he was like the kind of like the backup to like Randy Orton or other people. Like he was just there. Where he's come now to being one of the most popular figures in WWE, where people are singing his theme song when he enters. I mean, it's a great theme song. It's a top 5 theme song in WWE all time, hands
Mm-hmm.
down. And where he's come as a wrestler, like you gotta pick Cody Rhodes. He's one of the greatest. He's a future Hall of Famer. And I can't believe I wouldn't, if you would have told me in '07 that Cody Rhodes was going to be a future Hall of Famer, I would have laughed in your face.
Yeah.
So you got to pick him there. And I feel like he was going to be your next pick, so I don't really
He
feel too
was.
bad about
He
that.
was gonna be my next pick.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
he
I
was
knew I had to
no,
pick
it
him
was
or
gonna
you
be
were going to
my
pick
it
him.
was gonna be my overall first, but I wanted Roman. Uh,
That's fair. That's fair.
but I've got two fantastic picks. Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I
I'm
see
ready to
your
hear
Cena
this.
and
I feel
I
like one of them is at least going to piss me off.
see your Cena and I raise you Randy Orton.
Fuck. Damn it. I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. I fucking love Randy Orton.
um, great.
Even when he was a heel, I cheered for him.
Um, and then my second pick. I mean, my Orton pick is self-explanatory. Like,
Yeah,
right?
there's
Like
not
it's
much to say about Randy Orton. He's
uh
accomplishments speak for itself.
my fourth pick technically. I'm gonna take Jeff Hardy.
Ooh, I like that. I wasn't thinking that, but that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That I like that. Okay.
Jeff Hardy, known for the Swanton Bomb, or the one time that he did the Swanton Bomb through a ladder. or through a table, and yet still
Or off
somehow
the
got up
Raw
and won.
set.
Like,
Or off the Raw set.
right.
Raw set to Randy Orton. Like,
And yet still somehow got up and won. Like, it was.
yeah. Dude wasn't. It was probably the drugs that probably helped with
That was probably, yeah.
that.
Alright, you got two.
Okay. And also, I just gotta say on Jeff Hardy, him winning the WWE Championship Armageddon 08 was, I think, the best thing I've ever saw at wrestling live. Easily, hands down. Okay. Now, so two more for me right now.
You got two
I'm gonna
more, but
go
you
with Rey
got three more
Mysterio.
total.
Yeah.
Okay.
You mean four more total? Because it's seven?
Well, this is four.
Yeah, but I have seven picks total. This was my fourth pick, so I have three after that.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Rey Mysterio. I mean, I already talked about the Eddie Guerrero rivalry earlier, but I mean, Rey Mysterio, I mean, everything goes against him in his career. His size, probably his background. Like, he's not what WWE, like, expected back then, wanted out of wrestlers. But, again, look at his accomplishments. Like, look what he's been able to do. And the dude is injury prone beyond belief.
Hmm.
Like, the fact he's even still able to be wrestling is a miracle.
I like to think that they bring him back for like 2 months and then they injure him again and then they bring him back for 2 months and then they injure him again. But
But
my,
he's
my
still able. But he's still able to come back.
no, I'm saying like though, but like if you condense all that time, it's like you can put it all together. It's only been like he's been wrestling for like technically 10 years, but his career's like 25 to 30.
Yeah, honestly, 100%. Like, the dude still wrestles like he's in his 20s when he's like in his like 50s.
Yeah.
Probably by now. I'd assume. So gotta go Rey Mysterio, and then fifth. There's a lot of guys I'm thinking here. I want to kind of go an old school guy, kind of old school. I'm gonna say Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay.
That dude just kicks ass. He can kick anybody's ass. He's one of the best promo deliverers ever. He speaks so well, even though it's like how a drunk guy speaks.
You know why he's good at it?
But it's just entertaining.
You
Why?
know why he's good at it? Because Stone Cold said so.
Exactly. And he just I I want to see him wrestle a match now. I know it's never gonna happen, and I totally like get it. But just to see him wrestle one more time instead of just kicking someone's ass. Also, he fucking Stone Cold Stunner Donald Trump. Like,
Oh
that's
my god, that
that's
was
an
so
American
funny.
hero in my
Oh
book.
my god.
That's an American hero in my book. Anyone who kicks Donald Trump's ass, just for a legend.
Okay. Alright, I have two. And I am going to take.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of have to at this point. Because you have Stone Cold and Cena, I'm going to take Rock.
Yeah, I had a feeling if I didn't take Stone Cold, it was gonna be The Rock. So
Because Rock has had some great rivalries with both of them. Um,
yeah, and we can't forget his rivalry with the Hurricane.
that was such a weird
Just
one. Like,
elite level writing right there. At the same time, Dwayne Johnson was like the one who said he would do that with Shane Helms, and that is just cool in my opinion too. That's just awesome.
um, yeah. And then my penultimate pick is going to be Seth Rollins.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. He knows how to do promos. He literally. You look at WrestleMania 40. He fought through what was most likely multiple injuries just to come back for that one chair shot. Um, So that to me that's resiliency right there, and I'll take that.
I agree.
All right, you have your
I
last
agree.
two.
Okay, I have two more and you have one more. So
Yep.
I could really probably piss you off here.
Yes, you can.
Honestly, I probably will. Okay. How how this guy hasn't been picked yet, I don't know, but I'm picking him here. Undertaker.
That one was not on my list. Okay.
Oh, I don't know how. I mean, I think that dude's accomplished. I don't think there's really anything I can say about the Undertaker that hasn't been said.
Well, I'm not saying like it wasn't on my list, but like I'm trying to make a list that I know can win. That's my thing.
No, no,
So
yeah. Well, I think my list can win. I think I have some absolute winners here, but I'm going Undertaker here.
this will be one
I
hell of a
mean,
match though.
my God, this
This
is like the match you make in like the in SmackDown versus Raw video games.
yes, yes it is. If you
I
were
mean,
allowed to do it this way,
Undertaker
you would.
is just yeah. Undertaker, I mean, again, what can you say about him? Hall of Famer all around,
Got beaten by Brock Lesnar.
versatility. Vince McMahon had a boner for Brock Lesnar that I will never understand.
I think that's why both of them aren't
I
there anymore.
yeah, exactly. Fuck Brock Lesnar. He is
But you
never
gotta
gonna
you
end
gotta
up on
admit
any of
Brock
my
Lesnar
lists.
coming into what was it like SummerSlam or something a while ago on a tractor. That was fucking funny.
I'd have to look that up, but I mean, Taker just all around great wrestler, all around great dude from what I've heard. His podcast is honestly really fun to listen to, or when you listen to interviews of him, he's very like insightful, and he really just seems to care about everyone he worked with. Like he never says anything bad about anybody. No one ever says anything bad about him. Like you could say you don't agree with like stuff he believes in, and that's fine. But like I feel like where his heart is, that he's just an all-around great dude.
Hmm.
Mark Calloway. And then The Undertaker, just one of the best wrestlers of all time. You'd think like with a gimmick like that, they wouldn't do anything with him as a wrestler, but the dude just was like could hold it. Like always had great matches, just always.
All right, Sean,
And
your
fuck Brock
last
Lesnar.
pick.
Yeah, and fuck Brock Lesnar for ending the undefeated streak. That's who they ended it to. That is bullshit. Okay, I have a few guys in mind, but honestly, me, and this is one of the biggest what ifs. It's got to be Eddie Guerrero.
Okay.
The dude was still in his prime when he passed away. Like he easily, I think, could have wrestled like another 10 years. Probably wouldn't have been 10 years, but I think he could have. Like
Um.
he just again, like Rey Mysterio, I think everything kind of went against him. Like he was a smaller guy. I mean, he grew up in a wrestling family, so that helped him. That's I think what really helped him. That his whole family was a family of wrestlers. Like his older brothers, his dad, and then Chavo, obviously his nephew slash like almost like brother. Like Eddie had everything going against him. Smaller guy, but he overcame everything. He overcame his addictions. He won the WWE Championship against Brock Lesnar.
Hmm.
That pretty much ended Brock Lesnar's first WWE run. I mean, that's not what ended it, but that's pretty much that was how it kind of ended. And I mean, again, it's the biggest what if. If he didn't die, what else would he accomplish? I think a lot, honestly. He's just one of the best technical sounded wrestlers you'll watch. Rest in peace.
All right. Final pick, and I, I don't know in my list how this one has gotten this low. Purely for the fact that he's of everything that he's accomplished in a year and a half. And I'm taking Jay.
Uh,
Um, because how do you leave a what was essentially a abusive situation. Go to the other brand, make a whole name for yourself, and have pretty much a title opportunity every other month.
I mean, yeah, I mean, to pretty much get away from his brother, I mean, and make it work. Like,
Even though they were together for like 10 years. When they
uh,
finally broke
like that's
away, he
not
finally did his
easy.
own thing. Yeah.
When you're a tag team, especially with like a family member, it's not easy to break off that. And you can argue both of them in a way have, but Jay especially, I think you can make that like he overcame that, and that's impressive.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
So Sean's list is John Cena, Triple H, Cody Rhodes, Rey Mysterio, Stone Cold, Undertaker, and Eddie Guerrero. And my list is Roman Reigns, Braun Breaker, Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, Seth Rollins, and Jey Uso. That would
That
be
is a that
that is a
that's an elite match.
stacked uh, match
That
right there.
that arena would be sold out in like 10 seconds. That ever happened. It
That would
obviously
honestly
wouldn't.
that would be some kind of Mania match. Honestly,
That's even bigger. Well, bigger than Mania, probably not, but that'd be
night
a
one
Mania match
Mania,
for sure. And
night one Mania it would be.
yeah, and obviously there's like honorable mentions. I could be like Shawn Michaels, Edge, CM Punk. Like
Mm-hmm.
obviously those guys would be good picks too. But I honestly I think both our lists are really good there. Who would win? I don't know. I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
it comes down to one team dominates. I think it comes down to one-on-one action. And if I had to pick who would come down one-on-one to, Cena and Reigns.
Yeah,
And then flip a coin who wins.
I have a coin somewhere. We can decide this right
Okay,
now.
let's Okay. 2 out of 3. No,
Two out
not
of.
2 out of 3.
All right. Heads I win, tails you lose.
Ah, you're funny. Okay,
All right, make the
Cena
call.
heads, Reigns tails. Heads,
Okay,
Cena.
it's tails.
I don't believe you because I can't see it.
Tails.
You picked it up.
I
You
did
you
not.
picked
I
it
went
up,
like this.
asshole.
Okay, ready?
Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
Heads.
Okay.
We're one
So
and
we're
one.
1 for 1.
Jesus Christ, this is gonna be interesting. Ready? Tails.
Okay. Okay. Fair. Okay. You win. Fine. Fine with that. That was
Even
fun.
it even came down to a coin flip.
Uh, that was fun.
That was great, wasn't it?
I enjoyed it.
All right. So with that,
Just a
that's all we
football
got.
note. I was gonna say just a football note. Von's Bills return 50-50. Bleacher Report reports. Oh well. Or
Anyways, um, that's all we got. If you're a wrestling fan, I really hope you enjoyed this because this took quite a long time to put together. um,
it was so fun. It was so fun though.
if you aren't a wrestling fan but you kept this on, hey, thanks. We'll be back next time. Uh,
Heck yeah.
anyways, Sean, do you have anything else before we head out?
Nah. I'm just excited for Raw tomorrow to
Let's do
go.
it.
I love going. I love going to Raw. I love going to WWE events.
All right. So with that,